57. Friday, rain continues with a high near 48. Saturday, a chance of rain with a high near 48. And New Year's Day, partly sunny with a high near 48. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
This is the Crime Stoppers Crime of the Week, sponsored by Barcom Security.
I'm Officer Drew Zabados, Crime Stoppers Coordinator for Sangamon and Menard counties. This week, Crime Stoppers is seeking information to assist the Springfield Police Department reference a theft that occurred on December 12, 2022, around 4:56 p.m. at CVS Pharmacy, located at 1879 Sangamon Avenue in Springfield, Illinois. The victim was entering the store when a male subject wearing white shoes, dark pants, dark jacket, and a multicolored stocking cap took the victim's purse and exited the store. The victim's purse contained an array of items, including a cell phone, cash, bus tickets, a bank card, and checkbook. Photos of the suspect can be viewed on our website, cashfortips.us. If you can identify the suspect, call Crime Stoppers anonymously at 217-788-8427, submit a tip on our website, or use the P3 app. If your tip results in an arrest, you could receive a cash reward up to $2,500. Remember, Crime Stoppers only want your information, not your name.
Catch a criminal, get a reward. Crime Stoppers of Sangamon and Menard County, sponsored by the Springfield office of Barcom Security. BarcomSecurity.com. Have a secure day.
Are you more concerned about crime than you were a year ago? You're probably not alone. But this rising wave doesn't have to catch you off guard. Barcom Security is protecting more Central Illinois homes and businesses every day. Being proactive and dealing with it now will keep you and your family more secure. Make it your next call. Contact the Springfield office of Barcom Security for a free estimate and have a secure day.
Want to generate more leads for your home improvement business? Menards offers contractors the opportunity to promote their services in our installer center. We encourage you to connect with our guests because we're your supplier, not your competitor. Contact one of our team members at any of your surrounding Menards store locations to inquire about the free program and get enrolled in our installer center today.
Save big money at Menards.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
Well, welcome back to another day after the holidays. It is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. I'm Greg Bishop. Thanks for hanging out. And we are live and local on this December 27th after having the day off yesterday, post-Christmas. But we've also got the New Year's holiday coming up, so my live availability will be limited until after the New Year, after today. But you can always follow along, Bishop on Air on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Just search those out and you can subscribe and follow along, where I will be updating whatever comes across my desk throughout. So check out the social media pages. But over the weekend and on the Christmas Eve holiday, where a lot of you were sitting back relaxing, there was a substantial structure fire in Springfield. And a listener passed along video that they captured early in the morning on Christmas Eve. And when I opened it up, I was floored just with how dramatic and how large scale this particular fire was on 11th and Enos in downtown Springfield. And if you, of course, have seen some of the footage and other media sharing what they captured, it was a really kind of eerie an ominous sign, an ominous sight, I should say, a scene that really would send shivers down your spine just with how large it was all across that particular block. So this was the old Salvation Army Goodwill sorting center. Apparently it was also a shoe factory back in the day. And if you follow along, you could see some other pictures that were shared of the just dramatic scene. All kinds of fire crews responding. And it wasn't just, one small building. This was the entire block practically that was on fire here. And you could see even more of the the images and the video of firefighters dousing inside, trying to get control and maintain the fire within the perimeter of that particular space. Really just harrowing, the amount of work that they had to do and still have yet to do. But here's the question. And this was, of course, during a really, really cold evening. And you had sub-zero temperatures, you had wind chills that were very much deadly, and people who are experiencing homelessness, that's the type of situation they don't want to be in, and they will find some kind of shelter. But too often we have vacant buildings that people go to find shelter in and squat in, and then it turns into a fire hazard, which is what we saw unfold on Christmas Eve. How do we get control of this? Especially with the availability of shelters, because this is obviously a huge fire that led to a whole host of firefighters and law enforcement and utility crews that had to respond to this, and the costs associated with it. I can't imagine what the actual cost is, and it'd be interesting to see that breakdown of what the cost is of sending out all the personnel from multiple agencies to deal with this. And would that be dramatically reduced if we had better plans for more shelters and maybe a team to go out and be on the streets to look for individuals who need that shelter? And having low barrier shelters, something that we hear a lot about. I'd love to hear your thoughts. 217-629-7970. How do we get control of this? How do we ensure that we don't have people going into vacant buildings and squatting, especially trying to stay warm, maybe making some makeshift fires, and then leading to structural fires that could engulf entire city block? Which is what we saw happen on Christmas Eve. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. 217-629-7970. Are you willing to devote more resources to having more overflow shelters, heating centers, places that individuals can go, low barrier places? And when I talk about low barrier places, I'm talking about places that don't mind if the individual may have been drunk or on drugs, or a variety of other circumstances that could keep them out of other shelters that have certain barriers for people to take advantage of their services. Because if we don't have something, then we're going to see more of these types of instances of buildings just being ablaze, and it's frightening to see. It's especially if you live in that area, just the magnitude of it. And the scope of just how large of this fire was, and even reading the report that ultimately came out from the fire department. I mean, they laid it out. Here's what Chief Brandon Blau had to say, the incident narrative that happened on Christmas Eve. General fire alarm came at 4:45, stating heavy fire. Units arrived on scene, immediately called for upgraded response. Building was a formerly Salvation Army building. It was in disrepair and open to trespass. Due to the heavy fire conditions, the poor conditions of the building, and overall size, it stretched the entire block from 10th Street to 11th Street on Enos. Springfield Fire Department started defensive operations only from the exterior of the building. The next shift's personnel were contacted and asked to report early for additional manpower. The building had multiple collapses, including the second roof and exterior walls, but the crew's hard work stopped the fire from spreading and adjoined a larger building to the north. Squatters exited the building and stated that there may have been others inside. The heavy fire conditions and lack of structural integrity prevented crews from going inside to do a search. It's unknown at this time if additional people were inside the building. Sub-zero temperatures and high winds required more manpower, and a rehab bus was sent by SMTD to allow firefighters to thaw out and recover and resume operations. That's pretty remarkable that it was so cold. Firefighters had to have some place to duck in to get warm. That's just how cold it was. There were 6 engine companies, 3 companies, 1 from Sherman Fire Department, 2 command vehicles, and 4 additional command staff personnel called in. During operations on 11th Street, another fire occurred utilizing all remaining units in Springfield, including an extra company made up of crew members that had just left the 11th Street scene. It's believed the largest building fire in Springfield since the Weaver Paint Factory in the 1970s. And extinguishment is still ongoing. This was a report that I got from the Springfield Fire Department, I believe, on Christmas Day. But Fire Chief Blau goes on to say he wants to thank all the men and women of the Springfield Fire Department for their hard work in absolutely insufferable conditions. We know some of them have frostbite, but not other injuries have been reported. I also want to thank Springfield Police Department, Public Works, CWLP, especially the Water Department for assisting in boosting water pressure on scene, and the Salvation Army and Red Cross for setting up canteens for all crews on scene. More information as the chief gets it, but this is obviously a large structure fire, as the chief said. Believed to be the largest building fire in Springfield since the Weaver Paint Factory fire in the 1970s. That was way before my time. Maybe some of you remember that, but just a harrowing scene on Christmas Eve. Something I think you have to really stop and appreciate the firefighters for what they do, because it's times like these where they just jump into action, and you've got this huge fire, multiple crews, beyond frigid temperatures. Just not something you want to have to deal with on Christmas Eve, but Springfield Fire jumped into it, and still a search underway for any possible victims that could be in there, because, of course, as the fire report said, there were squatters that exited the building and said there might still be some people in there. So obviously, that story is going to be updated, but how do we get control of the possibility of squatters going into vacant buildings and possibly starting makeshift fires to keep warm, leading to what we saw happen on Christmas Eve? I think it's an important question that everybody in Springfield and anywhere really needs to answer and dig deep on. All right, it is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where after that cold snap, it's going to warm up with a high near 30 today. Still some negative wind chills possible as the wind gusts get up to 22 miles an hour. Overnight in Springfield, mostly clear, the low of 25. Wednesday, sunny with a high of 44. And then Thursday, a chance of drizzle with a high up to 56. For Friday, chance of rain with a high of 47. Right now, though, it's 9 degrees out there. With Springfield's Morning News, I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. And now it's 6:21 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions. And did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Hello, Lauterbach Man here. People often come by and they say to me, Lauterbach Man, how do you manage to stay outside all winter? But because they're so short, it just sounds like... But I get the gist. It's cold out, and how can a fella like me endure the cold? Because at Lauterbach Tire, we understand staying outside in the cold. Your car does it every single winter. Oh yes, it challenges the batteries and belts and important fluids, but does it ever break down? No, because you brought your car to my top team of automotive technicians. Winter is tough on us all, but it doesn't have to be tough on your car. We'll make sure it's happy to start up in the morning. Oh, somebody else down there is asking me something. How zebras, tomato soup, hamper, shoelace? I can't understand you. No, it's because you're short. Sorry. Lauterbach Man at Lauterbach Tire on Wabash. We fix cars so you can drive safely now.
The Ramsey Show.
I don't want to be the little pig in the straw house anymore. I'm going to get my crap together. I'm going to get out of debt and have an emergency fund. I'm going to be the little pig in the brick house, so when the wolf comes and blows, I don't have credit card debt. I don't have student loan debt. I don't have car payments. I'm under control and I got a pile of money. You know what would happen?
The economy would collapse!
collapse. No, it wouldn't. The economy would boom.
The Ramsey Show, weeknights at 10. Sponsored by INB. Bank Easy. Bank INB.
The Riverbank Lodge. Stop in Monday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. for the best lunch in Petersburg, and nightly 4 to midnight where you can enjoy food, drinks, and gaming. Why not stay the night? Ask about our room rates. The Riverbank Lodge, Petersburg. Play slots or try a hand at video poker and win big with Excel Entertainment, Illinois' leading terminal operator. Take a spin with us and have your pick of the hottest games and enjoy the latest upgrades. Gaming as easy as 3-2-win. Powered by Excel Entertainment. Game on.
Is your financial strategy personalized for you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situation change? I'm Kyle Edmiston, a local Edward Jones financial advisor. When we work together, we'll focus on what's important to you. We'll create a personalized financial strategy backed by our advice, tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And we'll partner to help your strategy stay on track no matter what happens. Contact me, Kyle Edmiston, at 217-787-1710. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Anxiety. There's plenty of it to go around for just about everyone these days, but the question is, how are you dealing with it? Anxiety can make things difficult. If you find yourself reaching for drugs or alcohol as the solution, chances are your anxiety has gotten out of control. It's time to pick up the phone and call Gateway Foundation. You'll talk with someone who holds the strictest confidentiality so that you can open up and learn about treatment options. Our team of professional counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, and physicians have a long history of helping people like you get back on track. During the healing process, you'll find that there is nothing to be ashamed of. Calling Gateway Foundation is that important first step towards getting away from the self-medication of alcohol and other substances and on the road towards safe, rewarding, and sustainable recovery. Call Gateway Foundation at 877-505-HOPE for a free, private, confidential screening. Gateway Foundation, addiction medicine saving lives.
Hey, John, you remember when Dick Van Dyke had their one-day only New Year's Day sale?
And people look forward to it all year long.
Well, between ice storms, a must-see college bowl game, travel plans,
and a terrible headache from the night before.
Yeah, well, it's nice that it's a 6-day sale now, which makes it a lot easier to plan for.
And it's going on today.
Including the big brands like GE, Frigidaire, Electrolux, Speed Queen, and Bosch. Price like you'll never see again for another 12 months.
Refrigerators starting at $579.99. Dishwashers starting at $409.99. Most of the appliances they offer are backed by their free 10-year protection plan.
So drive carefully, set the DVR, bring the family.
And knock back a pot of coffee if you need to.
If you're in a hurry. But remember, it's a 6-day sale going on today at Dick Van Dyke.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. It's all hands on deck. Not just one day, but 6 whole days of savings on everything. Your best New Year's sale deal is waiting for you today. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
The WMAY Daily Poll is sponsored by Adams Pest Control for commercial, residential, real estate inspections, and termite control. Cast your vote with the WMAY mobile app or at WMAY.com/poll.
Well, there have been numerous reports of flight delays over the holiday travel period. Have you been impacted? Yes, I've been affected personally. A friend or family member has, or I don't know anyone who's been directly affected. And about 83% of you apparently don't travel or don't know anybody who has been affected. Go vote at WMAY.com/poll or on the WMAY mobile app. It's brought to you by Adams Pest Control.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Listen on demand at WMAY.com. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
All right, state lawmakers, they are set to come back after the new year. January 4th is when the Illinois legislature will be back in town for the start of lame duck session. And a lot of speculation of they could come back and hold some more hearings about gun control, including the possibility of bringing up House Bill 5855, which would ban the future sale of around 100 semi-automatic guns, rifles, shotguns, pistols, but also prohibit the possession of magazines that have more than 10 rounds. And what's fascinating here is the debate that's expected, that we've already had, but what's expected in the future, and gun owner rights groups saying that they're not going to negotiate this. And in particular, they don't want to chip away at something that's super broad because, one, they won't negotiate on a gun ban, period. And number two, the more broad, and this is a kind of a legal theory that I've heard speculated about, the more broad the bill is, if it's ever implemented, the easier it might be to take down when it gets to the courts, which is expected if this thing ultimately is passed and enacted. Now, House Bill 5855, a lot of attention on this, deals with prohibiting future sale of certain semi-automatic weapons. It also prohibits the possession and future sale of magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. But it would also do a couple of other things. It would limit individuals under the age of 21 from getting a firearm owner identification card. That's the Illinois requirement for individuals to have to buy and possess firearms and ammunition in the state of Illinois. So it would prohibit anyone under 21 from getting that permit. They would have to, if they're hunting with an older person, that older person will have to have a FOID card. But the 19-year-old, the 18-year-old, the 20-year-old, they wouldn't be able to get a firearm owner identification card. But it also would expand the firearm order of protection. The restraining order that Illinois has, it's 6 months right now. They want to extend that to 12 months. So if, say, somebody wants to file an allegation against you for your behavior towards them, your alleged behavior towards them, there could be actions taken to restrain your ability to have firearms for up to a year, not just up to 6 months. So these things are obviously a hot item to debate, and you've got other lawsuits that have already been filed, things that are still making its way through the courts, challenging the FOID card in Illinois, challenging other provisions of Illinois law, and in particular, you've got the question of should people be allowed to take firearms concealed carry onto public transit? That's something that you have happening in other states where it's allowed, but in Illinois, that's not allowed. So people who are getting on public transit who want to protect themselves, they're not given that right. And some people saying that in the courts, we'll see what they have to say about the Second Amendment, and does it end when you get onto public transit? So state lawmakers coming back. Of course, lame duck sessions January 4th. A lot of focus is going to be on the proposed gun ban, but you also have other things that could pop out in lame duck session as well. And then January 11th is when the new General Assembly comes in, and the thousands of bills that they've filed in the past 2 years all go up in the air, and they start over from scratch on January 11th. So we'll be on the ground watching all of that for you and being reported back here with Springfield's Morning News, but also with what I do outside of the radio show with the Center Square. And you can follow all of that, Bishop on Air. Just search Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Bishop on Air, and we can connect that way. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk, and got to take a break for some headlines at 6:31 on WMAY.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. Illinois lawmakers have set a goal of 1 million electric vehicle registrations in the state by 2030, and the federal government is poised to help. Starting January 1st, many Americans will qualify for a tax credit of up to $7,500 for buying a new electric vehicle and $4,000 for those who buy a used one. For at least the first 2 months of 2023, the full credit will be available to consumers who meet income and price limits, after which certain country of origin requirements may reduce the total credit available. Sangamon County is no longer reporting daily COVID-19 case numbers. The county health department announced the change on its Facebook page, but did not provide a reason. COVID stats by county are available on the Illinois Department of Public Health page. It currently shows the county at just under 74,000 total cases since the start of the pandemic, with 431 deaths from COVID, higher than the 422 deaths reported by the county in its final update last Thursday. It's like a Christmas story come to life. Authorities in Cairo had to come to the assistance of a child whose tongue stuck to a frozen outdoor pole during last week's bitter cold. Fox 2 in St. Louis reports that crews were able to free the child without any significant injury. Authorities did not release the age or gender of the child. The incident was reminiscent of the famous scene in the classic holiday film in which a boy accepts a triple dog dare to lick a pole, and his tongue froze to it. The widow of an Illinois state senator who died earlier this month has been appointed to replace him for the final few days of his term. Stacey Bennett was named to fill the vacancy left when her husband, Senator Scott Bennett, died unexpectedly of a brain tumor on December 9th. She will serve during the January lame duck session, but is not seeking appointment to the full 2-year term that begins when the new legislature is sworn in on January 11th. Springfield fire investigators are still looking for victims in the rubble of the old Goodwill building after a Christmas Eve fire. Several squatters were inside the building when the fire broke out early Saturday and escaped, but said others may have still been in the building. Fire Chief Brandon Blau says the condition of the structure, the weather, and the lack of availability of cadaver dogs have hampered search efforts. 2 people are still unaccounted for, but a full search of the debris is not expected until Tuesday. The chorus against Ticketmaster's concert pricing practices is growing. Country music artist Zach Bryan dropped a live album titled All My Homies Hate Ticketmaster on Sunday. Bryan also issued a statement on social media in which he decried a massive issue with fair ticket prices to live shows lately. The statement doesn't mention Ticketmaster by name, except in the new album title, though he tagged the company in a separate Instagram post displaying the track listing. Ticketmaster did not immediately return a message seeking comment from the Associated Press. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
There are 3 words I always hear when someone from our staff is on the phone. We got it. Hi, it's Laurie from Rex Battery, and whenever somebody calls us and asks if we have a certain type of battery, the answer is always, we got it. Even in those very rare instances we don't, we know how to get it. And if we don't know how to get it, we'll build it. That's how committed we are to making sure you have the power you need. From model cars to real cars, from toys to tractors, dog collars to doorbells, riding mowers to remote keys. If it takes a battery, we have it at Rex Battery. Over 75,000 batteries in stock right now. So if you're wondering if we've got a battery, yep, we've got it. They're fresh, fully charged, and ready to go. Keeping Central Illinois fully powered for over 60 years. Rex Battery, Clear Lake, west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Shop the largest selection of Amish and American-made furniture all in one location at Hendricks Home Furnishings. From living room upholstery and accent tables to bedroom, dining room, and home office furniture. Select your sizes, wood finishes, colors, leathers, and fabrics of your choice. At Hendricks, the options are endless for style and comfort that will last a lifetime. Come shop Amish and American-made furniture on sale now. Hendricks Home Furnishings in Verdon and online at hendricks.tv, where you can always talk to the owners.
Well, we're not quite done just yet. Brian Lauer here, and I hope you all had a great Christmas. I know I did. It was the last retail Christmas season for me. See, I've been in retail since I was in 8th grade. But don't say goodbye just yet. We still have inventory to sell. So, we may be open another couple of weeks or till it's gone. Bring your Christmas cash and save big. Hours are 11 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday, in the beautiful Montvale Junction Shopping Center on West Isles.
Hi, it's Ed Lex with Edward Jones. Listen to the Business Spotlight with Edward Jones this afternoon at 5:40 on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Today, sunny and warmer with a high near 30. Low tonight around 25. Tomorrow, partly sunny and breezy with a high near 45. A sprinkle or two is possible tomorrow night with a low around 38. Thursday, continued breezy with drizzling rain with a high near 57. Friday, rain continues with a high near 48. Saturday, a chance of rain with a high near 48. And New Year's Day, partly sunny with a high near 48. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
The Landmark Auto Group is introducing their new #1 reason why you always do better at Landmark. Landmark for a lifetime. This incredible new reason to buy gives you an exceptional lifetime coverage on the vehicle you purchase at any Landmark store. This pro-certified lifetime warranty will be available on new and pre-owned vehicles. That's coverage for unlimited time, unlimited miles with no cost to you. Landmark for a lifetime. Just another reason why
You always do better at Landmark.
Landmark for a lifetime. You've heard of it, but what is it? It's an all-new lifetime warranty on new and pre-owned vehicles at Landmark. This nationwide coverage allows you to get your car work done anywhere by any ASE certified technician. The cost of living keeps increasing, but this remarkable vehicle protection keeps you covered and unaffected by price increases in labor and parts. Now that's peace of mind. Get all the information on Landmark for a lifetime at any Landmark Auto Group location.
You always do better at Landmark.
How would you like to work for the area's premier multimedia marketing and advertising company right here in Springfield? Well, here's your opportunity. At Midwest Family, we're looking for talented and dynamic account executives who thrive in a fast-paced working environment. Those who are passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive. Are you a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have a grasp on today's digital media? And do you have the ability to cultivate lasting relationships and partnerships? If this sounds like this is for you, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on our careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, we offer unique sales career opportunities where you're given a challenging mission, world-class tools like HubSpot CRM, ongoing training, and the chance to realize your full potential as a marketing and advertising sales professional. This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager at Midwest Family Springfield. Are you my next candidate? If so, please apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Eye on Travel Minute. It happens more than you think. You hit the wrong key when booking a ticket online, or the reservations agent mistypes the correct spelling of your name or the correct gender on your ticket. Here's what you need to do. If you notice the mistake within 24 hours of booking, then cancel the ticket for a refund and immediately rebook. But if it's after 24 hours, you need to call the airline directly. Most airlines will allow you to make small changes and correct typos. But remember to make them on all portions of your trip, especially if you're flying on different airlines. One more thing. You're only allowed to make just one name or spelling correction. But a full name change? That's a definite no. For more information, visit petergreenberg.com. I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Eye on Travel Minute.
Give the gift that's hard to wrap, but easy to give. The Steel Holiday Gift Guide has outdoor power tools and more for everyone on your list. Visit your local Steel dealer or go online to steelusa.com/gift guide. Real Steel. Find yours.
92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
All right, coming up later on this hour, so literally in the next 20 minutes, we'll get to the latest in the U.S. Census data, which shows that Illinois continues to lose population, and it seems to be accelerating. I talked with Ted Dabrowski from WirePoint after we previewed a lot of this on Thursday, but now the numbers are out, and it shows Illinois' population loss is accelerating. So we'll get to that coming up here in a moment. But I wanted to ask you about robot workers. It's something that is kind of fascinating, especially with all of the discussions about new jobs and are we going to see more automation? When Megan and I went out on Christmas Eve to do some shopping, last minute type of shopping for a variety of different things, we noticed that the department store we went to, the vast majority of the checkout lanes, the vast majority, I'm say they had 30 or 40 different checkout lanes, and probably close to 30 of them were all self-checkout. And we had some, heavier items, and we didn't want to go through the self-checkout. We also had some champagne that we didn't want to have to go through the rigmarole of having to wave somebody down to check our ID. So we decided to go and check out at a lane that actually had somebody there at the big box store checking the items. But it was fascinating because we do a lot of shopping locally online for groceries, for instance. So we order the groceries, and then we go and we pick them up after paying for it with a credit card. So we rarely actually go into the store. But this time, we had some last minute items we had to pick up, and heading into the holidays, picking up some grocery items and such. It was busy, obviously, on Christmas Eve at a big box store, but we were both kind of taken aback as to just how few of actual real people checking out were available. The actual people in checkout lanes taking your items, scanning them, and having you pay them, versus the huge amount of the self-checkout lanes. And those are convenient, no question. But is this the future? Saw a story about a McDonald's out of Texas that has something else going on, and it dealt with the essentially robot operation of a fast food restaurant. And what happens when you got an increasing prospect of robot workers. The automation, sure, it's going to save a lot of money. It's going to help McDonald's increase their bottom line for their shareholders. But is that the type of service you want? Is that a move to the future here of kiosks where you put your order in and then a robot spits out your meal and then you move on? It's like a conveyor belt of sorts. Get your slop, move on. Next person gets your slop, move on. And having a robot put all that together, it's been interesting to see some of the comments on Twitter where people were on both sides of this saying, well, finally, my order at a fast food restaurant is going to be correct. But others saying, well, who do I talk to if my order isn't correct? You have to go inside and try to wave somebody down and have them address it? Or do you go in and file a complaint with the computer back through the drive-thru? So we'll see this progress and just how much consumers are going to either accept it or push back against it. Because these are jobs, obviously. These are wages that could be made by a person to provide for their family versus a robot or some kind of new technology that's automated, allowing for a cheaper process for the business, but maybe a diminished quality of service for the consumer. Or is it a increased quality of service? I use self-checkout lanes when I've got a few items that I just need to get through real quick. But what about if I had some big items and had some questions that were unique and couldn't just be answered by a frequently asked question bot? These are some important questions that we as consumers are going to have to grapple with moving into the future. I can't believe it is the future. And speaking of robots, saw some new footage of Boston Dynamic robots. You guys familiar with those? It looks like Terminator, and they're coming. They look cute, and they're doing acrobatics and backflips and whatnot, and showing that they can run around really different platforms and uneven platforms and ramps and jumping up boxes. And I can see here in just a handful of days, weeks, months, years, that we're going to see more and more of these robots and their capabilities. And who knows, maybe just someday they'll strap a weapon onto them. That's not good. And what do you do with? I mean, if we're going to have robot cops, how do you deal with that? Let's take a quick call here. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning, Bishop. Hope you had a good Christmas.
Hey, you too. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, so if you notice things, we've been going back to doing things all by ourselves for years. Gas stations used to be full service.
Right.
Now we do it ourselves. And now we go into the grocery store. Sometimes I don't mind doing it, The only thing I don't like about this self-serve is they don't trust us enough. They ask us for a receipt. So at the end, you got a guy that can ask for your receipt but not there to help you. So I always tell them, I wasn't properly trained. So if I got something for free, that's on you guys.
But yeah, I mean, you raise the issue of if you do run into a problem. Say the barcode's not scanning properly. Say the receipt tape is out, or a host of other things. If you've got, only robots to talk to, how are you going to get that rectified?
Yeah, sometimes it beeps and, you don't think about it. I've had it not scan a couple times and just, went about my day. And you go to the door and then you're like, Oh, I guess I didn't pay for that.
Right, and then you get accosted by the elderly gentleman who is searching through your bags to find what set off the alarm. No, good stuff. I appreciate that, and happy holidays to you. 217-629-7970 is the phone number. Another one. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, morning, Bishop. Hey, my wife works she works in retail and kind of a management position, but they have the self-checkout, and it is just rife with shoplifting. I mean, it is hundreds of dollars at a time. People will act like they scanned something and they don't, or they'll scan something and they don't even bother scanning large items. Yeah. And the thing is they can't really do nothing about it. They could try and stop them, but if they call the cops don't show up half the time. What they do, they really don't prosecute them unless it's over a certain amount.
Right.
You see this stuff with these smash and grabs. This type of behavior is just emboldened when no one prosecutes it.
Well, yeah, and I saw a lot of the kind of smash and grabs of sorts after Blizzard rolled through. I think it was out of Buffalo or somewhere in New York, where a store was just ransacked after a pretty severe blizzard. So I can imagine. Yeah, it's a problem that retail stores have to deal with, and does having self-checkout lanes add to the problem? Good calls. Appreciate that. Got to take a break, all right? And coming back, we'll update you on the latest U.S. Census numbers, all right? 6:49 now. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where after a cold snap, looks like things getting much more mild. We're looking at a high today of around 30 degrees with a low down to around 25. Wind gusts still going to make it feel pretty cold, though, so watch out for those wind chills. Could be down into the single digits. And then for Wednesday, sunny with a high of 44. Thursday, chance of drizzle with a high of 56. And Friday, 40% chance of rain with a high of 47. Right now, it's 9 degrees. At 6:49 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
The Landmark Auto Group is introducing their new #1 reason why you always do better at Landmark. Landmark for a lifetime. This incredible new reason to buy gives you an exceptional lifetime coverage on the vehicle you purchase at any Landmark store. This pro-certified lifetime warranty will be available on new and pre-owned vehicles. That's coverage for unlimited time, unlimited miles with no cost to you. Landmark for a lifetime. Just another reason why
You always do better at Landmark.
Landmark for a lifetime. You've heard of it, but what is it? It's an all-new lifetime warranty on new and pre-owned vehicles at Landmark. This nationwide coverage allows you to get your car work done anywhere by any ASE certified technician. The cost of living keeps increasing, but this remarkable vehicle protection keeps you covered and unaffected by price increases in labor and parts. Now that's peace of mind. Get all the information on Landmark for a lifetime at any Landmark Auto Group location.
You always do better at Landmark.
Hey, John, you remember when Dick Van Dyke had their one-day-only New Year's Day sale?
And people look forward to it all year long.
Well, between ice storms, a must-see college bowl game, travel plans...
And a terrible headache from the night before.
Yeah, well, it's nice that it's a 6-day sale now, which makes it a lot easier to plan for.
And it's going on today.
Including the big brands like GE, Frigidaire, Electrolux, Speed Queen, and Bosch. Price like you'll never see again for another 12 months.
Refrigerators starting at $579.99. Dishwashers starting at $409.99. Most of the appliances they offer are backed by their free 10-year protection plan.
So drive carefully, set the DVR, bring the family.
And knock back a pot of coffee if you need to.
If you're in a hurry. But remember, it's a 6-day sale going on today at Dick Van Dyke.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. It's all hands on deck. Not just one day, but 6 whole days of savings on everything. Your best New Year's sale deal is waiting for you today. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Giving blood while giving back to fight hunger. Right now, when you donate blood at the Impact Life Donor Center, we'll make a $20 donation to Feed America on your behalf. Feed America partners with local food banks. Every $10 donated helps provide 100 meals for people facing hunger. See? Giving blood while giving back to fight hunger. Even if you try to give blood and find out you can't, we're still making a donation to Feed America on your behalf. So don't delay. Make your appointment today. Giving blood is not a big deal, and you're done before you know it. Visit the Impact Life Donor Center today at Wabash and Chatham Road near Goodwill in Springfield or on South Main Street in Decatur. Please give what's in your heart because we are changing the world together. Visit bloodcenter.org.
If you've already donated to a food bank, just let them know. They've got a voucher for a $20 gift card for you instead. Visit bloodcenter.org.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
You can jumpstart your car with a device you can hold in your hand. I'm Laurie from Rex Battery, and if you find yourself with a dead battery, the NOCO Genius Boost is all you need. You don't have to wait for a friend to show up, call a tow truck, or hope a stranger has jumper cables. If you have the NOCO Genius Boost, you have the charge you need to get your car going again. One charge can get you as many as 20 jumps. Rex Battery always carries the latest technology, and these small devices pack big power, enough oomph to start your cars, trucks, and even boats. They even have USB ports so you can get your phone powered up if you're stranded. The NOCO Genius Boost. Pick up one today at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
What's the best thing to do with your money during uncertain times? Financial experts agree products like certificates of deposit and money market accounts can be a safe haven from a bumpy economy. At Warren Boynton State Bank, we've been helping people find ways for their money to make money for 145 years. Certificates of deposit, or CDs, give you a guaranteed return on your money. Money market accounts are a way to let your money earn higher interest with the flexibility of a checking account. These are just two options we have at Warren Boynton, each designed to give your money security, and they just might help you sleep better at night. At Warren Boynton, you can say we've seen a few things over the years. A lot has happened since we opened our doors in 1877, but no matter what was going on in the rest of the world, we've stood by folks in Central Illinois. A little extra confidence during challenging economic times. Warren Boynton State Bank, WBSB.net, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
Take Springfield's morning news with Greg Bishop everywhere with the free WMAY mobile app. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
So Thursday, we talked about the U.S. Census numbers that we expected to come out, and after the show Thursday, those numbers dropped. But when we were talking about it, kind of previewing what to expect, we discussed what Democrats in Illinois seem to want to refuse, and that's that Illinois' population continues to shrink. We lost a seat in Congress because of population decline, but you still had Democrats, including Governor J.B. Pritzker and U.S. Senator Dick Durbin, saying that Illinois is growing. That's not the indication we got from the U.S. Census in their latest report they released Thursday, just before the holiday. Now, the census says that growth in the U.S. shows early indication of recovery amid the COVID-19 pandemic. And overall, the United States grew by about 0.4% to 333.3 million people. So growth across the country. But if you look at even some of the things that they unpack, top 10 most populous states, Illinois is still sixth behind Pennsylvania. But you look at some of the other numbers, and the largest growth was Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona. Illinois not on that list. Why? Because Illinois is one of around 11 states, actually, that I counted up, that lost population. And we were the third state to lose population to the tune of 104,000. Now, that's the numerical change, and that's not the net change. And the net change, if you look at Illinois, and I broke the spreadsheet out here, and you could follow along if you look at us on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, you can see here the actual raw data, and it shows that the estimations, we lost a good chunk of people, but then you go into the net change, and the net change is 110,127 people. I talked with Ted Dabrowski about this, and he said ultimately this is just more bad news for Illinois.
Governor Pritzker could try to deny it, but Illinois continues to shrink in population. The new census data for 2022 shows that Illinois shrunk another 104,000. That's on top of the 114,000 from last year. So in total, it's almost 230,000. Not good numbers for the state, and a continued rejection of the policies that we've seen from here. And it's important to note that our neighboring states, with the exception of Michigan, they all grew. They grew in population. So it's not a Midwest problem. It's an Illinois problem. We're the third worst in the country in total population loss, and when you look at it in percentage terms, second worst.
Now, it's not just these annual estimates from the U.S. Census. There's other indications from IRS migration data, moving companies, and so on.
Yes, so the big problem for Illinois is that it continues to lose people to other states, and the U.S. Census picks that up. We lost 140,000 net people to other states. 140,000. Now, that was made up a little bit because we had international immigration. That was up 30,000 or positive 30,000. So that takes that 140 to 110. And then we gained 5,000 net people from the difference between births and deaths. So when you add up that domestic migration, the international migration, and births minus deaths, we end up with 104,000 loss. The big driver being people just leaving this state for other states.
Now, another number that the U.S. Census released earlier this month dealt with the poverty rate, and it showed that Illinois' poverty rate is increasing. Again, Ted Dabrowski with Wire Points.
Well, we've certainly seen that in the IRS numbers. The IRS numbers tell us that we're losing some of our biggest, we're losing everybody across every income sector, but we're certainly losing our biggest earners. And, of course, when you remove a person like Ken Griffin, that really moves the numbers. We haven't seen those numbers yet. We're losing our high earners. We're putting more and more people. We recently reported on that. We're putting more and more people on food stamps, more people on Medicaid. So we're creating more dependency, and creating less jobs. And that combination is a disaster, which is one of the reasons which is why people will just leave the state.
So fewer people taking on more of a tax burden as the poverty rate increases, and another 104,000 left Illinois, 110,000 net loss. It's a spiral of sorts.
From the Fly SPI studios, take the easy way out. WMAY